All right, people, here we are, DTN Living Life. Here's what we're driving, Gemini. And Dawn is driving a Chateau sitting right over here. Okay. Hers is a little 19 footer. Mine's a 24 footer. Nice little Gemini with a Ford Transit 3500 or 350. I mean 350 Ford 350 Gemini Transit. If I can get all the words right. Anyway, how we doing? We are headed to Montana, and yes, as you can see in the background, there's a Cracker Barrel here in Bismarck, North Dakota. All right, here's what we got going on. We're delivering these guys out to Montana. Mine's going to Great Falls, Montana. Get the camera to focus in here. Sorry. Get Great Falls, Montana. Hers is going to Billings, Montana. So, yeah. Driving for Horizon on these two. So, these are Horizon units. And we're taking them out. However, like the title says, heart to heart. Let's talk about this. I've been contacted by several people in the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Time flies when you're having fun, so therefore it might be 4 weeks. I don't know. Heart to heart. The questions I am throwing to people now. The top 2 reasons why this job is not for you. One, you can't drive these units without running into something, scraping against something, hitting them against the toll plazas, especially those that went from being a toll collector to a non-toll collector, which means that you're going through them at 10 to 15 miles an hour, which is really slow, but yet at 10 miles an hour, it's still fast enough that you're hitting these mirrors or you're scraping the bottom of them or something to that effect. So there's a little bit of anything and everything that's happening there. Okay, so there's damage. That's one reason why people can't do this job, is because they get de-leased because of damage. The other reason why people can't do this job is because of their own self. They can't handle the one thing that this job promotes. And I'm sorry, but it does promote this tremendously. Okay? And that happens to be, it promotes loneliness. All right? You are by yourself out here. Me and Dawn are lucky because we're both doing this job. We're both transporting. So there's no problem there. It's more towards the factor of a lot of other people are transporting by themselves. Whether you're doing multi-haul in a semi or a 1-ton truck, or you're doing towaway in a pickup truck, or you're doing drive-away with a tow car or without a tow car. It is exactly like I'm saying it is. You are by yourself. Okay? So, let's talk about some statistics. Last year, 36,000 people died on the roads of the United States. Okay? 3 million transporters average across the United States. That's 1 point something, close to 2 percent. That's not so bad, is it? Don't sound that bad, does it? 36,000 deaths out of 3 million. It really don't sound that bad at all. You know, the only things that actually top that is loggers and commercial fishermen. Top those things. I think there's one more, but I can't remember what it was. And they only top it by another 1%. But okay. And loggers being the top of them all, there's only 30,000 loggers. All right, in the U.S. Think about this. 30,000 log. Oh, wait a second. It said North America, so it included Canada. 30,000 loggers. And it topped it by having a little over 2% death rate. But 3 million, and we're sitting right there next to it with 36,000. So in other words, we wiped out the loggers and how many deaths are on the highways. All right. Is this making sense to you guys? Is this coming across, giving you an idea what you're asking to do? Okay, you're asking to come out here to a job that promotes loneliness and has a high rate of death. Am I scaring you? I don't know. Am I wanting to? No, I'm just wanting to give you the facts. Okay. So, I've talked to a few different people. One person said that every job he went to do, he went back home after he did it. And he didn't understand why he didn't make money. There's a good reason. You're adding distance to your travel, therefore you're literally not making any money in doing this job. This job is not for someone to go and leave home and then come back to the home right after they do one load. It is not that way. You may do one load, deadhead back to pick up another load, and you think, well, I'm just going to swing by an extra 400 miles and go home. Well, wait a second. That 400 miles is giving you an extra day that you're not going to use. That 400 miles is giving you an extra day that you're going to go somewhere you're going to spend an extra day at, or extra 2 days because you missed home. This is not the way this job works. You get into a unit, you drive it, or you tow a unit, and you drive it and deliver it, and you head back. Or you get another unit to go somewhere else from that location. And when I say from that location, usually somewhere within 200 to 300 miles of your drop-off, you will find something else to go somewhere else. Okay? So this is what I'm trying to point out. It is the most viable thing that I am trying to get across to people. Okay? There is a revolving door in this business. Transporters are a dime a dozen. It doesn't matter which company you work for. I talked to Classic. I have talked to Bennett. I have talked to Indiana Transport now since we're part of them. I've talked to Horizon. I've talked to so many different places. Average 1,500 active drivers. Pretty much across the board with everybody. Okay? A couple of them were a little bit higher, a couple of them were a little bit lower. So we'll just go with the average, 1,500. All right? And figure 2% of them are going to die in a year. You never know. That's the ratio. Okay? So, is that possible? Yes. Is it highly likely? No. But it is the number one reason for death in this job, is that it's an accident, car accident. And it don't even have to be your fault. I mean, look how many RVers have had accidents and they're not even doing anything wrong. They're just driving down the road and somebody else was texting on their phone and crossed lines. Someone else was playing games on their phones and couldn't resist shooting one last time or doing something else one last time. Distractions are a killer. So these are things that happen. Okay? So I'm trying to give you heads up on what to expect and what to think. Alright? I'm trying to give you heads up on the loneliness. Yeah, I keep bouncing back and forth between them because they are the top reasons why people get out of this job. Okay? I talked to someone not too long ago. They said they watched a 3-car accident happen in front of them. And they said, that's it. They're not going to put themselves in that situation. If they were just a little bit faster And they even admitted they were only traveling at 58 miles an hour, and they watched an accident happen in front of them. If they had been going, the company guideline was going somewhere close between 60 and 65, they would have been part of that accident. They would have been up there in that few seconds sooner. Okay? I've talked to people about, how do you handle your loved ones asking, when are you coming home? Well, you cover that before you leave. All right? Look, I'm walking out this door. This job does not route me the next month. It only routes me this unit, maybe one more, if depending on how busy we are. If we don't have the units, then it's routing me one unit, and then I'm calling in to get another unit the minute I get to location, or find another unit in the route that I'm going. Okay? I'm doing the searches as I'm going. Now, I know one guy, he's no longer doing this, but yet he had a great combination with his wife, because she sat at home, but yet he allowed her to log in and do the searches for the units to line him up and find what he could do as he was getting to locations and getting back and things like that. She had access to his email, and she just literally did it all. Now, I don't know if that violates company policies or not, but yeah, it's all in the family, and everybody knows husband and wives don't hide nothing. We share everything. Okay. Don't even get into that. Quit. Stop. Anyway. So, this is what I'm trying to point out. Alright? Loneliness is going to happen. Your son, your daughter is going to call you and ask you when you're coming home. Your spouse. And I say spouse because the wife might be doing this job and the husband's staying at home. Who knows? It's one or the other. Or you both end up doing this job, and both of you, one's going out to Seattle and the other one's going to freaking Maine. I don't know why you'd do that, why you accept it, but anyway. And then you're asking, when are you going to be back over this way? I'm saying, you're in the job, you know how it works. Yeah. Tensions will rise. It will test nerves, because when you get done driving for an entire day and dealing with traffic, that tension rises because of tense traffic. When you drive across the plains of Nebraska, North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, and you have absolutely nothing around, your tension also rises, because now you don't have nothing to focus in on or to find amazing or anything to that effect. It is boring. It is just literally, whoop, wait a minute, gotta stay awake, gotta drive. Yep, all those different things. This is what adds up. So before you leave the house, before you actually finish that recruiter's comments, okay, before you finish any of those things, ask yourself, how do you do when you go away for a weekend? Oh, I do just fine. Now, how do you do when you go away for 2 to 3 weeks at a time? No kiss, no hugging, nothing, none of that stuff. Yes, you will hear the words, I love you. You will see the text messages come across. Oh, wait a second. You better not have your phone near you while you're driving, because if you do, and you look at those text messages, you respond to them or anything to that effect, you are putting yourself in distraction scenarios, whereas you can cause an accident or be in an accident. Or you could drive by an officer and he sees you touch your phone, and it's a hands down. You might not be holding your phone, but you touch it. That's a gray area in that law that literally could come back to bite you. Okay? It's still a distraction, no matter how you look at it. Alright? So every time you do anything, remember this. The minute you have an incident, the first thing the law does is subpoena a court order for your phone records. Because if they can prove you're on your phone, they know exactly who caused the accident. And it wasn't even your fault. You were in your lane the entire time. You never crossed a white line and came out of your lane. But yet, the minute they can show that you changed something on your phone in the same seconds or minutes of the incident, you were at fault. I don't agree with it. But that's what a couple of people have told me in the law enforcement and in the lawyer's side, that's what they're pushing now because of all the different incidents and deaths on the highways. 36,000 last year. The highest quarter of last year was the third quarter, and it was 10,000. And the first quarter was only at 6,000. This year's first quarter, we're at 7,000 deaths in the highways. So, yes, once again, I touch base on the deaths. I touch base on the boredom. I am trying to be as open-hearted as I can. I'm trying to be straight out and let you know before you come do this job. Like I said once in one of my others, you can make a living, but you won't make a lot of money and drive away. Okay? That's why we drive for 2 companies now. Sorry, but that's the fact. Motor coaches are up. I'm not going to come across with any ifs, ands, or buts about it. Motor coaches, according to the second quarter, they're up 14% compared to last year. Okay? So they're delivering motor coaches more often. However, there's a lot more going to Canada than normal. So therefore, they need people with passports. They also always need people with CDLs. So if you don't have a CDL and you don't have a passport, then you're going to be bored. Okay? If you do have a passport, that will help you. You won't be as bored, but you will be bored. Especially whenever you get up there in some of the Canada areas that you got to drive across, that's freaking 5 hours and not seeing a damn house or anything. But yet, once again, boredom. You will sit there and go do 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 do. You'll talk to yourself. You'll try to talk to Gemini or anything Google related, or you might try to talk to Siri or something to that effect, and they won't be able to answer because you're in a non-cell phone area. So, once again, you lose out. Okay, boredom. Alrighty. Towables, for those coming up here for Towables is down 17% according to the second quarter compared to last year. Overall, we're down 2.8% between both of them, motor coaches and towables, compared to last year. Right now, the prediction is to end the end of year at 6% below last year's. Okay? Are you getting the point you won't make a lot of money? Are you getting the point you're going to be bored? Are you getting the point that this is not the place to come at this time being in the first place? Hey, you can look up all my information at the RVIA, Recreation Vehicles Industry Association. They have the data. And before somebody comes across and says, well, they doctored that data so that way it looks good for their investors. It's the investors that own the freaking website, that owns the company. It's the investors that actually are the leaders of that company. So, and note that with anybody that doctors a number and either increases or decreases it for whatever reason, somewhere along the line, you're going to end up having a fallout. And that's been proven. So hence, it's not, in general business, that is not the way to go. Okay? It's better to have the closest fact as possible. Can it be doctored about 5%? Yeah, probably so. Okay. But which way is it being doctored? Is it being doctored lower for next year's numbers? No, knowing that they need to have a bottom out point and need to increase for next year so they can boost sales? Or are they increasing the numbers this year so that way next year they can continue on with a little bit better? See, it works both ways, no matter how you look at it. All right? So, this is what I'm trying to point out. It's slow. It's bored. And I'm going to tell you right now, when industry picks up, the job is still boring. The boredom doesn't go away. You just have more units. You'll be away from home more often. And you'll make a little bit more money, but you won't be able to spend it the way you want because you're not going to be at home with your loved ones or anything to that effect. And for all you people out there that says, I don't have a spouse, I don't have a girlfriend or boyfriend, I don't have kids, everybody's out of the house, I can go do this job without any problem whatsoever. Guess what? I've talked to a few of those too that have left this job because they can't handle the factor of always being on the move, living out of a suitcase. Hey? It's the job. Okay? Living off the back of the truck with a camp stove that you're cooking your own meal with and trying to rush it before it starts raining. Or trying to cook you a meal in the middle of the afternoon and it's burning hot because you're out in the middle of nowhere with no shade. And you're cooking your meal out there. Okay? You're surviving off of hot dogs. It's not good for you in the first place, but anyway. Hot dogs rolled up in tortilla and a piece of cheddar cheese. Alright? There is all kinds of things to do to help you, but at the same time, there are so many things of boredom that you must get used to. You must get used to the factor of the lack of communication, because you're going to be driving in areas that you're going to lose cell phone coverage. So when you think that you can just talk to them on the phone and you're talking away and you're into a deep conversation and boom, where'd you go? Hello, 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 hello. Anyway, you get the ideas. Boredom. It is the number one reason people leave this job. That's why they got a revolving door. How many other companies do you know that hires 20 people a week in average? That's 1,000 people a year. 1,000 new employees, new contractors every year. 1,000. And they have an average of 1,500 running at any given time. Does that give you a better idea? Think about it. Because that's the average, is 20. 20 people a week is what the revolving door is. And everybody thinks it'll be different for me. How are we able to stay here? How are we able to do it? You're going to ask. I know that's going to be the next question I see somebody send me in private saying, how are you able to do it? No, you're complaining that you're telling everybody it just revolves around the door. Why are you still there? Well, we're still here because we don't need that much money and we're working together. So we're not bored. Yeah, we get a little bored here and there, but we find something to entertain us and give us a little excitement. Second thing is, we cut all of our expenses. I mean, literally, down to nothing. We're about to cut even more because we're probably going to get rid of the cottage that we use. And we're going to go back to nomads and just enjoying out and about and anywhere and everywhere. Okay? But we're together. It's not me doing it by myself. It's not her doing it by herself. We're together. And a gentleman told me many years ago that the one thing you don't want to do is get to be old without somebody. It's lonely. Okay? I heard that from somebody over 30 years ago. I heard it from their own father, close to the same time, about 20 to 30 years ago. I heard it from someone else's father. I've heard it from 4 people in my family. 4 different people, 3 men, 1 woman, all say the same thing. You don't want to be by yourself. Because when you're by yourself, unfortunately, human race is socialites. We thrive on interactions. You can be an introvert all you want, but you need the interaction. Okay? There's no introvert that's sitting there reading a book 24/7, 7 days a week, without some type of interaction with someone they know on a regular basis. It's not happening. Boredom. It is the number one reason why people can't do this job. Number 2 reason, you get released because you can't figure out how to damn well drive these things. I'm sorry I cussed. You can't figure out how to drive these things and make a curve without the tail swing taking out a gas pump or a sign or scratching somebody else's vehicle. You wouldn't believe how many of those things you see. Or you can't do the logs because you can't comprehend how to do a log. It's real simple. At this time, this is what I'm doing. At this time, this is what I'm doing. We'll draw a line from where I'm at back to where I started. Boom. That's it. Okay. Log's done. Up to date. We're good. Okay. All these other things is why you get released. But why do you quit? Because you're bored. Because you miss people. Because you miss doing things. Yes, you meet the guy or the girl at the Loves, or you meet them at meet the guy or girl that's a cashier at the ATM, at the TNA, TA, not TNA, TA. Getting myself in trouble there. You meet these people, but they're not your friends, and you're not going to talk to them throughout the week. Therefore, it's just an acquaintance, and you're going to need another acquaintance to make up for that one that you don't talk to the next week, and the next week, and the next week, and it's not going to work. It just doesn't work that way. You're bored, and you need help, and you have no way of getting it. Oh, they introduced GPT or GTTP or whatever that freaking thing is you see advertisement on. Okay? Yeah. It doesn't work that way either. It's not your friend. And it's not friendly. Because if it was friendly, it would have sarcasm. Okay? How much of your life revolves around sarcasm? And remember, there's a Supreme Judge that once made a comment that said, sarcasm is just another way of the cold, hard facts. So, and we need that. Every one of us needs that. All right. There you go. Peace, love, and jelly beans, people. I'm Tex Nolan. Be safe out there for those that are already out there. Good luck for those that are coming. And just remember, it's life that you chose. So either you're going to enjoy it, and it's going to be fun, or you're not going to enjoy it, and it doesn't get any better from the first round. So there you go. I'm here at Cracker Barrel in Bismarck. Peace, love, and jelly beans. Y'all be safe out there.